Yes, you have read correctly. What you are seeing on the news right now is that our current president and administration, Donald J. Trump, he signed into executive order beginning of last month in February that segregated facilities are no longer banned in federal contracts. So, according to Black Enterprise, article written by Mitty Hicks on yesterday, March 18th, 2025, says that President Donald Trump's executive order repealing President Lyndon B. Johnson's 1965 executive order on non-discrimination and federal contracts means that the federal government no longer explicitly prohibits contractors from having segregated facilities such as bathrooms and drinking fountains. So, what that is saying in layman terms is that if a business has even a small portion of a federal contract, or there's businesses that are looking to bid for federal contracts, they are definitely welcomed. And if you actually are awarded a federal contract, then within your contract, you are protected under an executive order to prohibit certain races, genders, even disability, from using some of your public, or what would be considered some like utilities, like the bathroom and the water fountain. Am I surprised? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And the reason why, it's like, on one hand, of course, that so many people, not just black people, the majority was black people, but so many other people also helped to support the dream of equality for all Americans. And we don't want to see decades and centuries prior to 1965, when we were in Jim Crow, before civil rights passed in 1964. We don't want to see the work be undone and it be in vain. But then, I don't know, we've had an opportunity now to see that a lot of our past history, it wasn't revealed to us in school. We didn't really understand our greatness until the internet opened up a new door for us to learn about who we are as a people, where we come from. And even when we were here under oppression, we still rise. We rose to the occasion. We still rise. Okay? We had our own communities that were successful. They were so successful that they were targeted. And I think everybody remembers the main one that was targeted, and that is Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Black Wall Street, and Greenwood, back in the late 20s. And it was targeted with military airdrops from jets during that time, from airplane little air like crop duster jets, that they flew over the black only community that was prosperous, that was independent, that was doing well. All right. Had hospitals, schools, banks, pharmacies, legal system, courts, all of that. They had everything churches, everything that they needed. It was right there in their own community. We've done it over and over and over again. And the only common denominator is an invasion. That's what has happened. And so now I'm looking back at some of the things that we've accomplished when others here in America try to limit our potential. So to me, this right here, this is not a pushback for me. I mean, it's just not. You know why? Because white people, Hispanic people, Asian people, Indian, indigenous, people from, Europe of all descents and all of that. People who love you and they are really down for you, this is not acceptable for them. Love is going to find you where it wants to be found. Okay, love is going to be found where it wants to be found. The people that love me and the people that want to network with me, they want my money and I want to give them my money, and they want to respect my humanity. That's who I'm going to deal with. So it's never mind to me that this federal executive order has gotten signed. That's not a slight to me. It really is not. Absolutely not. It really isn't. I think that there are going to be some that are going to be shocked. And I'm thinking to myself, some of the African American MAGA supporters that were invited to the White House during Black History Month, knowing that he had already signed this into order, and yet later on that month he invited them into the White House, took pictures, celebrated. And you know what? Who was the most? I thought that his recognition was so undervalued. So undervalued. And if he ever wanted to question who he was, if he would stop and take the rose-colored glasses off, he will know exactly who he is. And that is Tiger Woods. When they put that medal around his neck, I felt as if he was being discounted. He is the first person of color, of Asian and Black descent, to win a national with the Augusta National. He's the first one to get a green jacket with the Golf Association, a jacket that's sought after all over the world. And he was able to break that barrier. And then once he accomplished that, it still wasn't good enough because he was still insulted. And, there was jargon thrown around that was racist, that was biased, that was bigoted towards him. And yet he still rose. I remember him being on the cover of Ebony magazine with his father, but I think along the way, some people don't get the wake-up call in this country, and nobody should get a wake-up call. But until we're all free, these vices happen. And to me, I feel like it was just a cheap discount on what they presented to him at that Black History Month celebration at the White House this past February. If I was the great Tiger Woods, sir, I would return that medal. I would return that medal, because you are better than that. You're better than that. You've made this country trillions of dollars with just the fact that someone just says your name. Anytime anybody thinks about golf, you're going to be in that conversation somewhere along the line. Of course, with other greats as well. But when they think of one of the greats, one of those that broke the barrier, it's going to be Tiger Woods in golf. But but people like those that attended the MAGA Black History Month, those are going to be the ones that are really going to be shocked by the sticker price that they see, that they sold themselves out for. They had sold themselves out for. So please be careful where you go to, because now that people know this, and maybe they weren't fully aware, but now that it's being publicized, you're going to have people that are not under federal contracts, and they're going to still take advantage of the fact that they feel protected at this moment. And so you're going to see stores and restaurants that are going to start putting up no colored signs. No colors. No colors. They're going to put up, a lot of them may pull up no Hispanics. A lot of them may pull up no Asians. See, that's those wake-up calls. Those are the vices that I'm telling you about. And I think that for so many years after the civil rights was passed and other groups of people were able to come into this country that one time needed sponsorship from Europeans or government agents to be able to come into this country. But before that, but after the civil rights passed, all of these different immigrants would come into this country, and they were able to work and build up a life and build up wealth and build up profit without so much of the deterrence that Black Americans were still facing, even though our people primarily helped to push the civil rights along that benefited every immigrant that comes here into this country. And that's also including our fellow African brothers and sisters, including the African immigrants. A lot of rhetoric, it's a lot of division. I understand there's certain circumstances where you may come into this country, you think that Black Americans have it so easy, but they don't understand the understory, the underbelly of what really goes on in America, in the fight that continues on with Black Americans. They think that it's completely yes. I'm not saying that it's not. Some of it, a lot of the things that have occurred over these past 20 years, our people do need a wake-up call. I'm not saying it is this. I'm not saying this type of wake-up call, but I'm saying an internal wake-up call needs to happen. That's a whole nother conversation, because that's just a whole nother conversation. But I will get into a conversation about that soon. But now with this new federal executive order, now our African brothers and sisters that are immigrants here, now they're going to experience what we mean by American racism. Well, American racism with no holds bar, as they used to say, no holds bar. That's what it is. Again, be blessed, be mindful, stay prayed up, continue to rest. That's another thing. Please, I can tell who gets the message and who doesn't. Remember, there's a 92% of Black women that voted for Vice President Harris, and then remember, there's still an 8% that's out there. The 8% that's out there, y'all are in these marches and these protests. Take your tail home. That is not your fight. And with this federal signing for this new segregated law that's back in action, if that's not a sign to you that this is not about your fight, although I understand, trust me, the 92%, we understand you. That's why we did it on November the 5th, 2024. We voted for Vice President Harris, Governor Tim Walz, because we saw that in those two that they were overqualified for this job. And we knew that they had a plan. Just like VP Harris said, Donald Trump has no plan for you. And she didn't have to say that but one time. Everybody who knew something understood the assignment. Anybody that had common sense understood the assignment, and they followed accordingly. But you got 8% of us that they didn't understand the assignment, and they still don't understand the assignment, and they're gonna get themselves hurt. You're gonna get yourself hurt. We're not telling people not to protest because you don't care. We're telling black women, especially people of color, especially, you may want to sit this one out. This is not necessarily a racial war. This is a culture war, a class war between one group. Okay? And you need to move out the way. If you don't want to listen to the 92% any other time, listen to us now. 8%, I need y'all to come on back home. Rest. Reclaim your time. This is not your battle. This is not your baby to rock. Stay mindful. Okay? Get engaged back into the 92% community. There's a reason why the 92 does what they do. It's not necessarily for us. It's because we understand the assignment is we ain't free until everybody free. We ain't free until all white people are free. We are not free until all black people are free. We're not free until all Latin people are free here. We are not free until all Arabs are free here. We're not free until all Indians are free here. All Asians are free here. All indigenous people are free here. All both genders are free here. Our children are free here. Nobody's free. So we understand the assignment. Be blessed. Please like, share, subscribe, and definitely share.